Hey, in this video, we're going to see whether Pokemon Gold, Silver, and Crystal, aka the second generation, is overrated. And I tried not to make the title of the video too, sensationalist because, well, I'm not going to name names, but there are certain popular YouTube quote-unquote celebrities who put these crazy titles in with a, irrelevant thumbnail to get you to click their videos, and they're pretty successful, but I wouldn't do that to you guys, It's not what I do. But I do want to kind of analyze these games and see, why they're so beloved. I don't see much criticism of these games online. I don't know if I said that already, but I just wanted to, give you guys some good insight on these games. And if you don't agree with me, that doesn't mean you have to hate me or give me bad feedback. Disagreeing with people is okay as long as their points are valid. At least if you hate me for the right reasons. So that being said, I'll kind of prove my worth to you guys. In case you don't think I'm equipped to, talk about these games, I'll kind of show you what kind of the context of the Pokemon player I am. So I got Pokemon Blue, Pokemon Red, Pokemon Yellow, yes, even Pokemon Green. So I got all the Generation 1 games. Now, what else do I have? I have Pokemon Ruby, Pokemon Sapphire, Pokemon Emerald, all the third generation games, including Leaf Green and Fire Red. So I got all those. Now, you might ask, what else? What else do I have? And I'll tell you. Got Pokemon Diamond, Pokemon Pearl, Pokemon Platinum, Pokemon Soul Silver, Pokemon Heart Gold, Pokemon White, finally, Pokemon Black. So as you can see, I have every single mainline Pokemon game. I didn't want to do that, but, some people think that, you gotta have credibility before you can review with all this stuff. Wanted to just prove that to you guys. And, you might also say I'm a younger guy, so maybe I don't have experience with this series. Well, think again, buddy, because I've been there since the beginning. I was there when it was huge, when it was the biggest thing in the world. I got Pokemon Gold on day one. So, yeah, hope I never have to do that again. You always have to prove to people on the internet that you know what you're talking about. But anyway, let's get into these games. Pretty much when these games came out, people loved it on the spot just because it's everything, a sequel should be. To quote that annoying Gears of War 2 moniker, it's bigger, badder, more badass. It just kind of improved on everything, quote unquote, new Pokemon and, a bigger world and more gym leaders and stuff like that. So before I get into the criticism of these games, I'll kind of go over some of the things I really like about these games, because I have to preface and say that, even if I'm saying these games are overrated, I still think they're really good games. I mean, I think all the Pokemon games are great, and I play the hell out of them. So anyway, the pros are that they introduced two new types, Dark and Steel, and they haven't added any more since. I think they found a good balance of types. So that's a really good thing. And spoiler alert, but the battle at the end of the game with Red, the guy you played as in Red, Blue, and Yellow, he had a really high level Pokemon. He didn't have a personality, kind of like in the actual Red, Blue, and Yellow games. He was kind of a blank slate, so that was a really cool thing. And it wasn't really like, it was something you had to seek out. It's not like he was calling you out or anything. So it was a really cool surprise and not something you'd expect. So that was another good thing. And finally, kind of the little things they added to make the interface and usability a little more efficient, like how they use the HMs. Like you can go next to a tree, press A and cut it instead of In Red, Blue, and Yellow, you had to press start, go to your Pokemon, and select the cut feature, which took a while. So they made the HMs a lot better and faster to use. The progress experience bar, where while you're in a battle, you can see how much experience points you have and how much you need to level up. You had to pause in Red, Blue, and Yellow to see how much you needed, so that was a good addition. And the PC management in general, like how if you catch a Pokemon and your box is full, it'll just switch to the next box, which was a problem in Red, Blue, and Yellow. So, like you'd catch a Mewtwo and your box was already full, and it would just disappear. You wouldn't be allowed to capture it anymore, which was a huge problem because you could never see Mewtwo again after that. But so anyway, now that we got those out of the way, let's look at kind of what I don't like about these games. Number one is that the progression of the Pokemon you catch is too slow. Like when you start the game, you're excited about this new Pokemon game. You heard there are 100 new Pokemon. You go into the grass and you find the most boring Pokemon imaginable, like Pidgey, which was already in Red, Blue, and Yellow, Sentret, which is just like a really boring, normal type Pokemon, Spinarak, this useless spider Pokemon, Hoot Hoot, a bird that no one likes, really. Let's see, what else is there? There's Ladybug, I think, the Ladybug Pokemon, again, useless. Wooper is okay. Kind of boring to use in the game, though. So, yeah, there are a lot of duds in this new generation, which you can't say about the original Red, Blue, and Yellow, which had like a 95% success rate of awesome Pokemon. Except for maybe like the Geodude family and Sandslash. I don't like Sandslash, but I like Sandshrew. Also, the starting Pokemon aren't very good to use in game. Like Totodile, the water Pokemon. He has a lot of attack strength, but in Gold and Silver Crystal, water moves are all special attacks, so you can't even utilize his kind of best aspect, which is annoying. And then for the Chikorita line, he barely learns any moves that are useful to use in game. Like it learns Razor Leaf really early, and then after that, it doesn't really learn anything, except for maybe Body Slam, which is just an okay move. So not very fun to use that. It doesn't even learn Leech Seed, which was a really good move. And Cyndaquil, I think, is a really boring, like generic fire type Pokemon. Not much to say about him. Kind of forgettable. I'm pretty sure most of you can't even remember its first evolution. The name of it, Quilava, just kind of boring. So yeah, there's a problem with the Pokemon distribution, and kind of the cooler ones that you can get are kind of hard to train, like Tyranitar, Blissey, and stuff like that. So yeah, that's a problem. And secondly, when I was mentioning the pros of this game, Pokemon, or the two new types are, a great addition. They kind of balanced out the fact that in Red, Blue, and Yellow, Psychic Pokemon were very overpowered. But in these two games, or in these 3 games specifically, they didn't add any good moves for them to use. Like Dark Pokemon have Crunch, but that's probably the only useful Dark type move. The rest aren't very effective. And Steel Pokemon don't have any good Steel moves at all. And there aren't enough Steel and Dark types, so it's a little underdeveloped and unbalanced in that way. And that's kind of the recurring theme with Gold, Silver, and Crystal. They introduce a lot of good ideas, but they're not well developed yet. And which Generation 3 fixes, in my opinion. And another negative aspect is the day and night cycle, which is cool in theory, but it's kind of hard to play these games at certain times of the day, like the morning hours, which consists of 6 a.m. to, I believe, 11 a.m. It's like, who would possibly get to catch the morning Pokemon unless you're playing during the weekend or unemployed or something? It's just kind of like a dumb thing that I'm glad they pared down in the later versions. Like they don't mean as much, and you can pretty much get any Pokemon without relying on the day and night cycle. Also, in these particular games, the day and night cycle requires like constant use of the save battery, which is why pretty much every single copy, if they haven't already, will the battery will die and you have to replace them because the battery's always running. So that's annoying. And one thing that people usually bring up that's a really cool feature is the fact that you can go to the Kanto region, which is the region from Red, Blue, and Yellow. And I agree that's cool in theory, but it really negatively affects the pacing of the games. Like, the first 8 badges in the the Johto region. It takes like an hour or two to get each badge, which is a pretty good progression. But in Kanto, you can get the first 4 badges in like a half hour, which kind of highlights the fact that the Kanto region is really underdeveloped. There's not much to do there. It's just kind of cool as a novelty that you can. There's kind of continuity between the games. Like this takes place 3 years later, so that's cool. But I would have liked a more well-developed Kanto region. And I guess the last thing I'll talk about, since this video could go on forever, is the phone call system, where pretty much you give your number to a lot of trainers and specific people, and then while you're playing the game, they're going to call you and tell you stuff. The problem is that the phone calls occur way too frequently in these games, and they tell you a lot of useless information. Like most of them will just say, "Yo, I guess what? You'll never guess what happened. I was so close to catching a Rattata, but then I couldn't, and oh man, you should have been there." It's like, wow, thanks for telling me that. I really needed to know. So, yeah, I thought that was really dumb. They really pared that down in the later versions. They still have it in Emerald and stuff like that, but people barely call you. They only will if they need you. So yeah, I just hope that kind of opens a discussion of how good these games really were. It has a ton of content, which is nice, but you know, checking the boxes isn't a great way to make a game. You have to make everything work properly. So, I hope you can kind of look into the game design of these games and sort of, decide for yourself whether this game's overrated. I say it is, and, thanks for watching, and hopefully I can do more of these.